Pipes that carry our drinking water. We appreciate you joining us on this Wednesday. I'm Kimberly Hunt.
And I am Wale Aliu. As Team 10 reported Monday, nearly 2,000 miles of aging asbestos cement pipes in the city of San Diego are still carrying tap water. That's alarmed some experts who are concerned the deteriorating lines could be leaching out asbestos into the water.
We need to be very thoughtful and careful about that remediation process.
Tonight, Team 10 investigator Austin Grabish uncovers what one advocate says is a staggering lack of protection for city workers sent to replace those pipes when they fall apart.
They had hard hats, boots, even reflective vests, but no face respirators were in sight as these workers repaired a broken asbestos pipe in 2020. This photo, obtained by Team 10, is raising questions about the protection given to San Diego city workers.
There were many different areas in the photographs that I noticed where most likely those workers were exposed.
Linda Reinstein is the president of the Asbestos Disease Awareness Organization. Reinstein is from National City and has spent decades fighting for stronger asbestos regulations. She created the nonprofit after her husband, Alan, died from mesothelioma. Team 10 asked her to comment on more than 100 photos we obtained for my investigation on San Diego's aging asbestos water mains. In the investigation, we revealed San Diego has nearly 2,000 miles of deteriorating asbestos pipes carrying drinking water. Some experts are concerned that poses a cancer risk, but the city maintains San Diego's water is safe. As part of my investigation, I filed a public records request asking for photos of broken concrete asbestos water pipes from 2015 to 2023. What Team 10 obtained shocked Reinstein.
Frankly, as a Californian, it was staggering to see workers that were cutting pipes that didn't have proper PPE and clothing.
Experts have long agreed inhaling asbestos can cause cancer, and they warn the removal of asbestos pipes needs to be done carefully.
I fear for the workers, first of all, who put it in, but even those that now have to come and remove the broken pieces of pipe. I've seen disease develop in workers who have removed and worked with as waste asbestos cement pipe.
Team 10 asked Cal OSHA what PPE employees must have when removing and cutting asbestos pipes. A spokesperson sent us this website that has a long list of state regulations. The site says asbestos cement pipe or sheet can emit airborne fibers if the materials are cut or sawed or if they are broken. And it tells employees you are required to wear a respirator when performing tasks that result in asbestos exposure that exceeds the permissible exposure limit. It's
Hey there, Patriots. This is True Outlaw Patriot coming at you with another one. The video that I'm showing you was actually brought to my attention by a subscriber who's also actually a friend of mine for many, many years that lives out in California. He told me if I could touch upon this because it's not really on the mainstream media news the way it should be, okay? It's only on the local news out in California where he's at. But he said it's getting to the point that even though they're still taking showers, they're resorting to not drinking the water. They're drinking nothing but bottled water because this whole asbestos problem is it's starting to get around to people's attention, but it's almost as if they're trying to keep it quiet from the whole public, which is something that is very dangerous, okay, as anybody knows how dangerous asbestos is, okay. I've known of a few people that got asbestosis and got sick and passed away because of that. As a matter of fact, my grandfather died of that, okay, when I was young. Because he was a merchant marine, he worked on a boat, worked on a ship, I should say, and the exposure to asbestos got the best of him, and he caught some really bad cancer, and it cost him his life. Now, you know, I don't know exactly what is going on in California as far as like who's running the show when it comes to projects like this, But what I find very strange is that the powers that be and Gavin Newsome spend all their time putting fear into people and not taking care of a problem that literally affects, if not thousands, maybe millions of people in California. Okay, as a matter of fact, he's out here putting out a state of emergency, all of a sudden declaring, excuse me, that bird flu is going to be a problem. So you want people to start masking up all over again, okay? Because now you're going to run this fear about bird flu in California. But yet you have, what did they say, 2,000 miles of pipe that is riddled with asbestos, okay, that made out of asbestos or whatever the case is, and all that water running through it going out to the citizens throughout California, and you're worried about the bird flu? Okay, and not only that, he's also being very defiant on setting up more sanctuary for illegal immigrants, but we'll get to that in a little bit. I don't understand the politics that's going on, how this man cannot control a state that he's in charge of, and the state is spending so much money, okay, to do all kinds of road work, construction work, and it's under the poorest conditions, okay? Now, I know some people are going to say, well, that's up to the contractor that they're contracting it out to. Let me tell you something. When you're going to contract something like this out, especially a job like this, okay, that has toxic chemicals or whatever the case is, you want to make sure that you're going to hire the best for the money that you're dishing out, okay? You cannot afford one worker, okay, whether they're through the city or they're contracted privately, to get sick, because all that is a major lawsuit, okay, to the citizens of California. But it just seems that, you know what, they'll go and just do whatever it is that they want while also being defiant, okay, saying that this is how we run California. On whose expense is that okay? Because Gavin Newsome, I mean, you know, I always make the comment, whether it's people want to take it as a joke or not, that they need to just build a border around California, okay? And I don't mean that in a bad way towards the people of California. It's just that, you know what? This man runs this state, okay, on every level, that it just doesn't benefit anybody but the rich in California. It really doesn't. You know, it really doesn't. But let's continue with this. Before I do, don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe. I want to thank all my new subscribers here on YouTube and on Rumble. So hit that like and subscribe button. Again, I want to wish everybody that I wasn't able to Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to come. Let's get on with the rest of this video, and then we'll go and see how Gavin Newsome is dealing with the illegal immigration situation, because he obviously can't deal with this situation, okay? But he sure has the time and the money to deal with harboring more illegals. Let's continue.
It's not clear what the exposure levels were the day these photos were taken, but in general, exposure to asbestos indoors is greater than outside. Asbestos expert Dr. Arthur Frank says workers should be wearing a face respirator regardless of the legally allowed exposure level. He's been studying the harm asbestos can cause for more than 50 years and points out OSHA's own website says there is no safe level of asbestos exposure.
There's a lot of money involved in paying compensation to people that have been harmed, and clearly people who have worked with asbestos cement pipe have been harmed.
The American Cancer Society warns asbestos fibers can become aerosolized when pipes are removed. Dr. Lauren Terrace says stringent measures need to be in place to protect workers. She says that includes sealing off an area before asbestos pipes are removed.
We need to be very thoughtful and careful about that remediation process, because we know that process in and of itself is going to lead to carcinogens being in the air.
Team 10 asked the city what it does to protect workers and how it ensures asbestos fibers don't become airborne. The city sent us this 7-page internal policy for workers handling asbestos pipes. This document says it is safe to handle asbestos concrete pipe that is in good condition without wearing additional PPE. The document says the city's guidelines meet or exceed federal and state regulations. One of the city's procedures includes keeping asbestos pipes wet to prevent fibers from becoming airborne. Another is flushing the water lines to remove any residual asbestos that may have entered the pipe.
I think that's almost impossible. In the state of California, where it's 75 degrees and sunny almost all the time, it's nearly impossible to keep a pipe wet the entire time. And it's also not the most protective thing to be using to repair pipes.
The city's internal policy says it's safe to handle asbestos concrete pipes that are in good condition without workers wearing additional PPE. What do you make of that?
Well, as a mesothelioma widow, I would say that's ridiculous. Every worker should assume that those pipes are dangerous and have the proper training and the PPE that is required to keep them safe.
Reinstein says Team 10's investigation shows how big of a problem legacy asbestos continues to be and why tougher rules are needed.
There should be a massive comprehensive legislation and legacy plan to prevent all exposure in cement pipes and beyond.
A plan to protect Americans from disease and heartbreak. Austin Grabish, Team 10.
And there you go. I mean, it's just horrible the way these people can get these contracts, okay? And let me tell you something. These contracts are not cheap. If anybody knows, asbestos removal is an expensive job. As a matter of fact, people that get hired to do it are some of the top making construction workers, contractor workers. I think it's some place in all places, they make about $35 an hour starting, okay? Because you're risking your life in the long term to end up with asbestos poisoning and cancer, and it's going to take your life. And what I don't understand, okay, is that if you have these contractors working, like, you know, the way they are without the proper equipment, how can you trust them to flush out whatever pipes that need to be flushed out? How can you trust them to take the right precautions where a lot of this water, without anybody knowing this kind of work's going on, without the pipes not being flushed right, and a little bit of that water just goes into somebody's in through somebody's water line in their apartment. They turn on the water, grab a drink, and without them realizing it, they're drinking a whole 8-ounce glass of just asbestos riddled water, man. I mean, I just think it's just so ridiculous where California needs so much work that needs to be done. So many things need to be fixed on every level, from construction to safety to the economy. And I don't want to hear that people say, oh, the economy's great. It's not, because the average person in California, okay, is damn near broke. Okay, so let's just dead that bullshit right there. But it's like, all this money goes into the system, and the best you can do is give out these jobs to contractors that don't even care about their own health. I'd like to know how many people know about this and how many people have been like tracking their health, and what is like the percentage of how many people are showing up with cancer, okay, as opposed to, if somebody normally came up, how many people are showing up with asbestos poisoning in their system? And I think that this is something that people should really take serious, especially in California, and start finding out, wait a minute, I drink a lot of tap water. Let me go to the doctor and find out what's going on, okay? And why a bigger government agency is not, stepping into this to find out what's going on. I mean, this is a lot of work. You're talking 2,000 miles of asbestos pipe. That should not be something that should be handled lightly. But leave it up to the officials in California all right, to have something like this, done, and then all of a sudden it hits the news, but yet it's not all over the news. It's just on the regular local news. Like I said, I had to hear this from a friend of mine that lives in California that told me, did you hear about the asbestos pipes that work that's going on? I said, no. And he said, yeah. He goes, it's got me and my wife like really rattled over this. And he told me, I asked him, give me some more information. He sent me a link, and here we are. Okay, but yet, like I said, Gavin Newsome is over here putting out a state of emergency over the bird flu. I mean, not for nothing, but to me, this would be more of a state of emergency at the moment. Okay, I mean, because you never mind about people catching the bird flu, so you wear a mask. Okay, what about the stuff that you're ingesting, which is water? To me, that would be more of a threat to worry about than catching a bird flu. That's just my opinion. But with that being said, let's see how Gavin Newsome is handling this, because he's obviously not. But, because he's he's more worried about his future voter base. Let's continue. Here we go.
California Governor Gavin Newsome wasting no time reportedly drawing up plans to help illegal migrants dodge deportation when President-elect Trump takes office. According to an internal memo obtained by Politico, Newsome is planning an immigrant support network to connect at-risk individuals, their families, and communities with legal services, schools, labor unions, local governments, etc. Ron Vitello served as Border Patrol chief during President Trump's first term. He's also been the acting director of ICE, as well as a deputy commissioner of CBP. Ron, hope you had a fantastic Christmas. California is really trying to get out there, according to Gavin Newsome, in pushing back on the effort to finally get the border chaos under control. What do you make of this?
Merry Christmas, Griff. This is destructive leadership shown by Gavin Newsome in California. We just had an election on November 5th. People voted for secure borders, safe streets, and knowing that the president was going to initiate a deportation effort, not just because he wants to, but because we just had about 12 million people enter the country and being encountered by CBP crossing the border illegally. Something must be done about what just happened over this last 4 years. And now he wants to use the state's funds and the state infrastructure to flout federal law. This is a state that has some of the highest income taxes in the country, some of the highest sales tax in the country, and it got a $68 billion deficit, billion with a B. And so he's going to use taxpayer resources to protect who exactly? People who are in the country illegally, who broke the law to be there, and have also broken the law in the jurisdictions in which they live in California. And so this is destructive leadership shown by Gavin Newsome, and it is not what people voted for. It's not what the people of California need. But that's unfortunately what they have, this terrible leadership in the likes of Gavin Newsome in California, who's good.
I'm just going to cut it real quick. And you know what's funny about all this? Supposedly, they're still counting ballots in California. I wonder why. Well, let's continue.
Going to destroy that state if he hasn't already gone a long way to do it.
Well, Ron, we were just showing our viewers video of migrants crossing in the San Diego sector in Jacumba, California, where I spent a lot of time reporting this past year. And Governor Gavin Newsome has actually come down to that location where we are seeing migrants coming from all over the world, from Syria, Libya, Afghanistan, and an unprecedented number of Chinese, all of which potentially could pose a national security risk, some of them hitting the terror screening database. Yet Gavin Newsome is saying that he is going to lean in and further protect migrants in the sanctuary jurisdiction. What possibly is his motivation?
Well, they're going broke because of the wokeness of his politics. And you're right, it's been out of control in the San Diego border for the last 4 years, give or take. And he just wants more of that. He wants to incentivize people who break the law by coming into the United States to come into California. What for? Because he thinks it's good for him politically. You know, he went to the White House not to complain about what's going on at the border. He went to the White House to measure the drapes. This guy has no business being in leadership in California or any other state. He is not helping the citizens who work hard and pay their taxes and want safe streets and secure borders.
You know what I find even more ironic? That the left always said that Trump was in cahoots with China. Trump was in cahoots with Russia. Trump was in cahoots, supposedly. Hillary Clinton was saying back in 2016 that it was Ukrainian bots, Russian bots in Ukraine that helped Trump win the election. But break this down like this. Yet you got Hunter Biden doing deals with Ukraine. Okay, remember, in case anybody doesn't remember, but the laptop, okay, the supposed laptop from hell. Okay. Then you have Gavin Newsome, okay. Let me jump into the middle of this real quick. But then you have the oil pipeline that was destroyed, okay. They go and try to blame that on Russia, okay. And then you have Gavin Newsome going out to China. If anybody remembers that, if anybody remembers the video, he was playing basketball with a couple of kids out in China for whatever reason, okay, to meet up with their officials over there. And now you got more illegal people from China coming in, and they're coming in through California. So it makes you wonder, okay? He is just a governor, okay? He's just a governor. What business did he have going to China as a U.S. ambassador or liaison? For what reason? And now you have all these Chinese people that they're saying that some of them are coming up on the terror watch list that are coming through the border in California. What exactly did he go to China for? Not to mention all the land that's being sold under Americans' noses, okay, to China. And people on the left still want to project and say that Donald Trump is the existential threat because he's out there making deals with all these leaders. When Trump is saying, close the border, we don't want people from certain countries, he's called a racist. Gavin Newsom goes and says, leave the border open, okay? Let all these people in, okay? Because he's doing the work of his overlord in Washington. And then on top of that, more terrorists are coming in. And he wants to be the leader? He can't even fix the asbestos pipe problem in California, never mind run the whole country. You know what I'm saying? But leave it up to this snake, just like the rest of them, to go and start being defiant now against Trump, saying, you know what? No, now we're going to spend more taxpayer money to set up safe havens for illegals that are coming into this country illegally, even if it means harboring not only illegal immigrants, but potential terrorist threats. Unbelievable.
Prompting some of his employees to speak out. This is the Department of Social Services spokesperson, the agency that drafted that memo, by the way, telling the New York Post this, quote, this document is an internal and deliberative draft document meant for internal discussions as part of a number of possible considerations given the incoming federal administration's public remarks. It's interesting in the statement, they say, well, possible considerations, even they don't want to go both feet in like Newsom did.
This is not in the interest of the United States. It's not in the interest of people who want a secure border or safe streets in California. This is the wrong direction to flout federal law, and we knew this was coming as of November 5th. Him getting out there and pretending that this problem doesn't exist in California or that he's going to make it better somehow by using the state's infrastructure and the state's limited resources to protect illegal aliens who also break the law in the state. It's the wrong direction for a number of reasons. Yeah. But that there he is. You know, he's trying to put himself between the rule of law and the president's efforts to secure the border and have safe streets in California.
And Ron, just in the 15 seconds I've got left, what do you foresee with Trump and Tom Homan's challenge going into California? Is this going to be a problem?
It's already a problem in the state. It's a sanctuary against cooperation with ICE. They're just going to have to work hard and leverage that activity. The men and women of the front line know how to do this. They can do it professionally and safely with or without Gavin Newsom's help.
And they are ready.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Because you know what? These Democrats truly think that they are doing what's in the best interest of Americans. And they know that they're not. Okay? They just know that they're not. But we'll see what's going to happen with all this. We'll see what's going to happen. We'll see what's going to happen when all these illegals that are terrorist threat wind up staying in California, and then something goes down, and I pray to God not. But then who are they going to blame it on? Okay, they're not going to blame it on Newsom. Oh, no, he's going to spin it around. Okay, he's going to try to dodge that ball and spin it around and throw it right in Trump's direction. Okay, just like Brandon Johnson in Chicago and their governor that are talking the same thing, and Kathy Hochul, all of them. Okay, they don't care who gets hurt, who gets murdered, who gets raped, who gets robbed. They don't care. Okay? And then you got all the leftist shows on the mainstream media, on social media, spinning all this around. And you guys can spin it around all you want. Okay? The more you're for all this, every time somebody gets hurt, all that blood is on you. On all you content creators and on all you mainstream shows. Okay? If you think it's not, trust me, it is. And that goes for anybody else in any organization. You think you're doing what's right? You think you're on the right side of history? Really? Talking about all this sanctuary city status? Where was the woman in New York that was torched alive? Okay? Where was her sanctuary? It was taken away by an illegal immigrant that was kicked out of the country during Trump's administration. He got back in. They knew that he had a criminal record and they released him. He made his way to New York and he killed a woman, burnt her alive. Where's the sanctuary? Where was the sanctuary for that woman? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. But anyway, that's what I got for you. Don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, pass the channel around. And if you can help support the channel, there's a link in my description to my Cash App and my merch store. Once again, I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. I hope everybody had a beautiful one and blessed one. It's still the Christmas season. New Year's is coming. Let's all pray that it'll be a better New Year for everyone, regardless, even our enemies, because we're all in this together. Okay, even if they don't want to admit it, but we are. Basically, we are. Okay? So remember, people, stay vigilant. Keep praying for each other. Keep praying for the women and the children. Pray for your enemies. Pray for this country. And pray for Donald Trump. Once again, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Peace.